All right. I bought um, just near the close yesterday. Held it overnight. Reason I decided to hold this one was we had change in wave structure, making higher highs and higher lows, and I kind of felt that we had a spring here on top of support on the higher time frame. So I wish I'd picked some up earlier down here. I was short, but had a bias to the short side, and um, probably should have reversed and gone long here when we had this change of behavior. But um, didn't see it till after the fact. Ended up buying it here later in the day. I did try it here and got out for a bit of profit. And these wild gyrations kind of they look wild now, and in hindsight they don't look so wild. But the time they seemed like it. So, but I was able to get in here. I added on to my position here on the 5 minute aftermarket. As you can see, we had a um, we broke out, came back and tested. I bought a couple more contracts here and sold it this morning. Went about 210 was my target. We're kind of at that area right now, and we're backing off. This could turn into absorption, and we could move higher. We'll see if this turns into a higher low. It looks like it probably will. But I decided that I wanted to wait, and every time I hold something under resistance and it starts acting quiet like this, I generally regret not getting out. So that happened to my short down here. I think 1968 3/4 was support level, and I regret not getting out there. I would have done so much better yesterday if I did. So game plan, I think we'll probably break out today. Would be my guess. The daily chart here. This was that support level I was mentioning, 1968 3/4 right here. And the market seems to be holding. Well, can't really draw a trend line on this now. It looks like it kind of semi-broke it, but I think we redraw it here. It might be premature, but solid demand, and looks to me like we're starting to trend upward. So feeling some fear of missing out on this here. I don't want to give back profits. Sometimes I tend to overtrade once I have a big winner. So my goal for this morning is not to overtrade.
Okay, this looks like this could be absorption. We did make a slightly higher low. I was looking for a potential spring. Price is just moving away from this. I think that there's a good shot, given the ease of movement we've had in the background, that this is probably going to make a new high in the morning. So might consider taking a long. Would like to see a spring here. I may just wait for it to break out first, though. If we get a spring, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll wait for a breakout and a pull back before I get in. Looks like we're making higher highs and higher lows, and price is starting to absorb this resistance to the left. So thinking about actually took a long right in here. Okay, exited my position here, came down, tested the bottom of the range. I thought we might come down in spring, so I didn't consider here. This was looking kind of weak. I thought it might turn down. Then it kept pushing up, and once we got this bar, I jumped in here, took some contracts here, and added on a little bit here. May come down and test this high. I think my average is around right where this high is. So looking for maybe it to come down, test, add a little bit more for the final liftoff. It's looking pretty good, solid demand. Not a lot of ease of movement on the bars, but demand is strong. Went ahead and bought a couple more contracts right here. It's looking strong. Again, absorption of the highs. This is what is this? Yeah, March's contract. So This is what I'm looking for support and resistance. You can't really see it on the other one, but looks breaking out above resistance, strong ease of movement. Obviously, this target, it's going to be a little bit increase in the slope here. That won't let me do it. Daily's looking good. We have been in a tight range for a long time, so we're due for an expansion in range. So I'm hoping today will be that day. Next area of resistance is 2071 or 2075-ish. Of course, this is on March contract, so that's about 60 points higher. Obviously, that's a little bit far for a day trade, but I'll hold on to today. I'm hoping for a trend day. I haven't had one in a while, so a really good one where we open, kind of close at an extreme. All right, actually, on this bar, I got out of my add-on here. Ended up getting out on my other trade right along here. It's not. If we get a key reversible iron here, I'll look to go higher, but I was expecting more of a reaction off of this support level. So either it's going to correct deeper, or there is a potential that we may reverse here, but I'll jump back in, which we'll see if it happens here. As you can see, I didn't want to take too much risk just in case this is an up thrust, which is possible. This bar would be nice if it could close strong. Get right back in. Minute chart might be shaping up here as well. I went ahead and bought it back. So it's got to be nimble. Actually added a little more to my position, took a bigger size on there. Shaping up here on the 5 minute, looks like it's going to close with another key reversal bar. Looks good to me here. Also strong demand coming in, breaking out above major resistance here. So it's looking better. We need to come up here. If we start to fail up in here, I'll get out again too, but hopefully we have ease of movement going higher. That would be the best case scenario. Alright, that's the kind of reaction you want to see. I'm going to put my stop below here for my whole position. I have about, my average price is 2,275. Yeah, 2,275. So right now, as far as targets go, I mean, this is pretty much an uptrend. So I want to stay in this thing as long as possible. Hopefully it doesn't just do a V-top and take my stop out. If it does, then the market's probably going to have a bigger move. I'll have a chance to make some money to the downside. But odds are this is just going to continue higher high, higher lows. Demands, plenty of demand, no supply. We have no real resistance here. As you can tell, we're just breaking out. And no resistance to the left. So odds are we could have a good strong update today. We've been waiting for breakout and volatility. On the daily chart, you can see we've been in fairly tight range with very tight range bars. Bars have been like 18 points on average. We could have a day like this where we break out about 60 points in range. That would put us about 2050 could be an equivalent range to that. All right, let's see. Just give me an idea what it could do. I mean, it could easily go 30 points from here. You just don't know. It's kind of unusual. I doubt it'll go that far, but you never know. High here, 2076, again is resistance. So we'll just kind of try to let this trade mature, and hopefully we just get a solid move to the upside for the rest of the afternoon. One thing I notice is when you look at the bar structure and the closes and you're trying to read the bars, like in here, it works great when you're at a level of support or area of resistance. However, when you're in a defined uptrend and you have higher highs and higher lows, wave structure looks healthy, solid demand, I don't pay as much attention to these closes in areas of resistance. I mean, this might be seen as kind of weakness if this was maybe came down and was underneath here, but in this context it's not as valuable. So something I noticed when I'm trading that is pretty useful, and not getting too hyper focused on the individual bars. But as you can see, strong closes on the higher time frame means we could pull back into this bar and still be healthy. So I don't want to lose my long position. I want to hold on to it as long as possible. Alright, I went away from the tick chart. Tick chart just looks a little too jumbled. If you look at this time frame here, it looks a little bit easier to read. 9,000 tick chart. So I'm going to be reading off these just because it's kind of a quiet day. Went ahead and added on a very small piece here. I've got bought one more contract here, so I have a total of 8. As you can see, the moving average is moving at a pretty steep angle, so I know it's a strong trend. We tried to pull back to the support level and just couldn't do it. It seems to be holding well. As long as this lifts off like that, I'll hold on to it. If I see a big reversal bar, I may close this trade and maybe some of this one too, and just lighten it up and wait and see what happens. Because if there's a big failure up here, then this could be seen as weak too. A lot of clustering of closes with no ability to move up. But so far, all the negative bars have been shrugged off, and there's a lot of buying every time we dip. Closes higher, dip, closes higher. So added on there. Too, I forgot to mention what happened with my trade from the night before. What I did is held it overnight, and this morning I woke up probably around 4 a.m. 2010 was my target, and woke up right about here and closed on this bar right around 2008. Could tell that we were failing up here, we weren't going higher, and I figured I could get back on board. So I think I bought a little higher up, but negated the risk of getting caught in this being resistance. So now that we've cleared it, looks pretty good. Again, here we go. It's looking like we're coming out of this little trading range, and hopefully it pushes higher. Alright, might have been a little premature, but seeing some weakness, so I went ahead and covered part of my position here. Alright, got back long, have a small spring on top of this larger support level. It was looking like it was going to come down, but really was met with no supply. And we're springing on top of support, so took a long trade in here. Actually closed my trade up here around 20, part of it 7 3/4, and the rest of it around 07 or 06 3/4. So we need to rise above this resistance. If we fail in here, I'll cover it. Alright, added on to my position here. Might be a little early, but this bar looks like it may confirm. You see here, right on top of support, this bar looks kind of bullish. We Could come down a little further, but I'm going to hold on to it. Worst case stop will be down here. All right, I added on to my position here, pulled back a little bit against me, held through it, figured I'd keep the stop down here, so sometimes you get in early like that, and that's okay. But you have to have wide stops, because if I use this to get out, probably would have gotten back in at a higher price, would have been churning everywhere. It's better, I've learned, just to hold on. Something I was going to point out on the 5 minutes, sometimes reading bar by bar analysis can be a little tricky, because here this would be pretty bearish in the right context. You have a high volume key reversal bar failing at resistance, but because of the structure of the larger term time frame, namely this support level we broke above this morning, we came down and tested it multiple times. And so odds are this is going to be a higher high. You're not just going to up thrust and pull straight back down, especially as there was no supply in the background. Demand is building on this up wave. So that kept me in it, though part of me really wanted to get out at that point in time. But you gotta make money while you can, and sometimes markets aren't always trending, so you need to get in when you can. Let's see here, I want to show you my position here. I've got a total of 6 contracts long. And so we'll see. I'll probably try to hold this over the weekend if we can really close strong into the close here, or close strong here at the end of the day. I'll probably cover some of it, maybe a couple contracts, keep the rest on.
All right, I went ahead and just held this position overnight, put my stop just below this higher low here. Seems to be holding this recent support level. If it goes through it, I'll have a decent profit, and I'll be rejecting this high, and I want to get out anyways. But I figured it's worth taking a shot. I think this market could definitely go higher. We'll see what happens on Monday.